And I'm file.
And I file.
I'm for buy.
I'm so what the video no cry me so be show Randy made the video or the video ni bi. Ni pe buy no me yam share me. I'm say who phone na assassination. Yes. Oh, they are party people.
Yes, mo say that the baso mo fi ahodo na buy. I'm about to cry video back cry no okra placard. Or say yezu na ni ba no so say da bi
Agya Kwabena.
Yes.
Say MPP rally ase. No yezu ni ba ho dia. Na say Ken ampa odize wo so ye de ne ba. Say MPP rally ase. Na yezu ni Margaret it me twe yezu ni ya de ne ba ho no hu say betime wura MPP party office abeye yezu dia. Assemble akope ne kache say mo de Kennedy Agyapong ba NDC for kra be de ebeto. That's what it means. That's what exactly it means.
O say mo rented. Mo say that ko fa mo fi baby na mo do mo buy.
Say eko han.
Mo ko han ka na mo so mo gum.
Na say na campaign skenya na ka besa. So this year the NDC skenya rented crowd that. But I think we should also respect the people there. What I say, they are people they have legitimate concerns. I want to say to a larger extent can come as a mom. Onu say mfie nwotwe ba ye no. Ebi kwa susu mo anya hwe every party no and that they need a change. Ebi susu omo tie omanfo no mo tie form of on the form of no can they also need a change. So amawu no mo ne kwakwa ate no mo ne ade last election steka no mo anka hu se omo ka no ho ehun sese no bibia ye the assessor and when these people comes there no mo beboa wono mo de do na e rented dia nti say eno engineer Agyapong e file that one ma rent bi say card e rent here I don't want rent bi
so be also be any strategy
as an idea strategy rented
some more renting crowd.
Oh Debbie I don't think it is a fair description and shows respect to one more the omo a party for and a two it demonstrates also the mobilization skills of Ken. Who say Ken no he has always been for the grassroots. Who say be your grassroots for some a form for no more form for no a form for Debia he's always fighting for them. Inti papa ya awo the charity is always doing and now we see we cardiothoracic center or boa or ye we the companies wa or farm crop adwuma na say nipa ba ho the workers nkwa 7,000 about kwa common call say the workers in pokura nkwa na ba ho common call so they cannot be rented crowd you say banchenya Agya Kwabena mpanifo say jana be there e be kire say 31st wo hire whether it's rented or it's not rented 31st will show.
Yeah, should be a candidate in Ankasa in person, Dr. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. The all chances are who do be a woman ma said the Kukomun some Kultumba Kama Bontain at Tunipa home pay, and it's an eminent. I must say, I'm not fool to say, sir, or individual crown went to me and Anton and Nareka. Now, Utubi Kasaye. Said Obaka Sebia, na said ne o ma munu nyina na ye de be hye ne sade a ene se ne ne ye wukura enti ne nsem na no di nsem o kekan se do sikasa ye no bibia e ma no ensem fata se obeye mampani se ye kasa okasa obabubo saa ne mo kekan nyina so obi kasa one ne ya adwan one ne nya adwene
na se ngofa gaze o ma resisi de no e de kids na my GP no form 4 and 17 enye nipa no asamka inteno just nipa ko nya legible biara. First of all so ka say yesi Kennedy Agyapong enkofo say Kennedy Agyapong anu ensem keka mesoma te say enkofo say Kennedy Agyapong e ka oni bi asema no mate say Kennedy Agyapong epe awisia ene ajanka ene akurafo ayede asem mate say Kennedy Agyapong say Kennedy Agyapong efa nkofo bebre e wonwumam nkofo bebre so ka say Kennedy Agyapong e ka no kre nkofo bebre e ka say Kennedy Agyapong wakogodro nkofo bebre say person a fight corruption pa person a fight galam say Kennedy Agyapong ene edin ene na kokodro ene na tema ene na hombase ana ye dey fight corruption. So people have also said that. So Agya Kwabena, it depends on what you focus on. But no crap ma menka sam nchew me nten wa fidi so enya me ho say bi Kennedy Agyapong or your high bofo debi Kennedy Agyapong nya bofo Kennedy Agyapong ye nipa Kennedy Agyapong ewo strength or normal enyine hu so oh papa we dey na ho de ye de eni so akodro de obi an dispute the near den or kan ko for assembly de emo or grassroots man eboa those are people don't dispute it and ko for be say oh can dey okasa dodo what they offered we those character assessment of all the other candidates obenyabi Dr. Baumia, the man is very humble and but I've also heard people who are saying that he's a weak person. And so weakness, humility, it all depends on how you see it. So whilst people see Ken say, oh, Ken Okasado, no, Ken is an outspoken person. Ken is a person who is so passionate about getting things done. Yes, or what no maybe, and as some of them know. And no maybe they both Ken do in Agya Kwabena, no Ken say 99.9% of them were done in defense of the party. I'm one example. Yes, Ken say party for a Jimmy for the party for them. And what then the by President Kufuor. Or penny a friend Gabi as a Roger Dako, or penny a friend be dear too, and a penny a friend as Safu Mafo. And no money party form penny for a cashier party for Ewo Kuforidia. A demo penny bakufi, and a party near record door, or no more common moody at the Mark Cry FM, a pro NDC station, so more. I must know the power yellow, so only Nansa when yes, sir. A bisabu will be a wedgie in a bear, sir. In this case, you know. What description best face will be a party a semi-year Kanokukwemu or the other. So semi-year Kanokukwemu the Babontin, it nearly brought a rift between the Ashantis and the Chiefs. I give you one final example. As a Kennedy Agyapong, did the software attempt. And there will be some say what do software attempt or say that. Now maybe a president you need the president be a software attempt. I don't know what they also did the software attempt. A dear and no more ye. 2,000 years ago, a day and a Christ a year, and Kennedy Agyapong after 2,000 years when Christ has gone repeated the same thing. A bear we are sorry them Hong Kong for, they are sorry neighbor pool, or Mudina Midi Bapu, yes, Sim Crawford, yeah, Jim Crawford cast, yeah, Jim Crawford, you know, a dear and Jesus Christ here then. It's not the same thing that Kennedy Agyapong has done. What I said, woman sophobia, or could in attempt. Yes, I prejudice of could in attempt. Yes, should be here when I say, or can simply say, he will say, he will expose the party. I will come party in the first so the winning election. If you dare me, I will expose the party. I will come party in the first so the winning election. And he tells him, be or security be or no one with him. I ain't compare first so the winning election. Party in the first so the winning, and more dare no, and go better to. Oh, Agya Kwabena, I think the principle of what he was saying was simple. The party for Muntie the Ghana for Eka. Party for Muntie their party for Eka. Party in penny for a form of necessary. Listen to them. Yes, party polling station executive or school placement. Yes, I just okucheska. Or teaching appointment as I so kucheska mobi. Or police, I so kucheska mobi. Or immigration, or I so kuchib. O kasa same way Agya Kwabena you be outdoor party or party in car from 92 till ultimate over 200 pickups. Ubo uchia over $3 million at the party. No cherry, force bills at the party. Na party nature, toda fi ukabibia na party nintia. Ultimate just Maria Mekasama Yanka. Na fi bibia chuacha. So that was the piece, the context. What now would they when you have say? Because I know when you have say. Let me show when you come in. But you know what I was saying. I say most of it don't tell me. Move for if I say I will show you how we won the elections. It doesn't only means that we stole it. It's a matter of strategy. It's a matter of strategy. Strategy does not only always mean we could be agree. I mean, it's a perception that more be about. But I'm telling you, as a spokesperson, that the context was just to draw or forcefully draws the party's attention to. And no maybe na party for the complaint hindered their attention. Or Casano, I feel no margin, now so any person as a worker. I've had a correction from Agya Kwabena. Or Sakufa require first when you are 49%. Lawyer Kobiamo Ashasi University. Or so on 49%. You saw a source was 30.9, then over Dubai to Kufuor 39, then to Akufo 49, right? Then to Baumia 41. Dear, up, down.
Mo party no be Dr. Owura Kennedy Agyapong grassroots said they can no be Owura Kennedy Agyapong asem, but on mine no adwene sa so no be tumi aboa.
Agya Kwabena say ka de banchi abongum. Agya Kwabena wo de oye fa camera na mo dwuma mu ha. Ye pon a me free ha no obi aka say Kwasi Kwarteng bi kura no obi akodi nkomo. No mo anko party mo amu ha no mo ni nkomo. No mo emu so mo say ho na mo de ne ba ye beto. Enye na wa aka che me say enu na ye rally ye ko NDC fo bi gina mo say Yesu no. Obi say obi di moto na mo say Yesu. say Kennedy Agyapong team by MPP party office am NDC near onu twema kwa ne ba bi NDC atade atimi di moto atimi di akira afiri ba bi ofiri ewura ho abepagya ne nsa ka che so Kennedy dia. It should tell you something that if you bring the man, the MPP people, the NDC people, and the people who believe in the business community, they are all going to go for him. Yes, Agya Kwabena do a survey in Trotro, in churches, in mosques, in the northern part in Empire vote to Amano, in the Zongo communities. Trotro station, Nebuza is one ad neighbor ever to. Cossack and Nebuza boys, someone ad neighbor. Well, you see, 2028 is not just about the parties. It's also about the credibility and trust of the candidates. One homogeneity. Ghanaians are brave politicians, you know. And you will be homogeneity, say, Papa, we ask more can obey there, obey you. And a lot believe and have full confidence in Kennedy Agyapong's personality, say, about obey to my day. Ayo.
Kwasi Kwarteng medase. Kwasi Kwarteng na kasa edema owura Kennedy Agyapong na ni na bu npunimpu. And ni sabo kan what ni 90 ye hwe kwan say afoforo nso beba na ye no madi nkomo akopem say aspirants ni nyina no ye no mo chitafo bidi nkomo na eno ende ye nsi wo ho ye bekoso atoaso no madi nkomo akopem say won beto aba no afie be wura mbosumi da etoso January 31st bosumi January da etoso de sabako afie be wura mu no beto aba ntino ye hwe DBC nti ye beda kwasi aso konso akache ononyafo kan say ye da na aseso so ma baaye
ono ji amu na ye de sebio final words no so we the ebu kwaso e de dwato am tumi no asiofo no mo ye de e de te be kwaso asrom so omo hu ye mobon fam family na anu na kofo nyina eja ba akofo achi but ye de ehunu so mo na tumi ne de e wo ho over 200,000 polling stations executives e de dwato am omo ebu kwaso na hombra se kwaso so mo so Kennedy nhwe but then kabo meba ama party na ayakono Kennedy is about 2028 so no you will GDS obewini elections na my party no and one more second chance and come on mu DS second chance in this contest it will not work because unya akonya sa obesom for the past 16 years more than half of the period that the party has been in power. You had the opportunity, but this is the performance unya, and this is the time in the spirit of unity, in the spirit of revival, you hear new face. You hear will be a party for the genetum. You hear will be a party for no. You who necessarily see the account or the oil. You hear will be a wakama grassroots. You hear will be a grassroots to asamaya de amano. And the most important thing here will be a Agya Kwabena. Na brabo nyina aye edwuma bi eno na no mamu ane mante ne mabawa ne ba ho because they believe in Kennedy Agyapong's message about be creating nyuma ye de amomo at an individual level he's created more than 7,000 jobs and we need such a person. Now the highest and the biggest problem we're confronting which has to do with unemployment and that is what Ghanaians are calling for at the moment.
Have you taken into consideration Udipa or in the contest here year 2024 election the important contest here no the former president of the republic ne boss Nana Danko Kufuor are contesting and you know what share Mampeni Mahama ni mudru Dr. Baumia a contest here no have you taken into consideration you know
but President Mahama contested also as a former president of the country to Akufo-Addo, who has never even been a vice president before, who has never been a former president before, and lost 1 million votes. It means the candidates count. Okay, in 2016, President Mahama and the President Akufo-Addo contested. At that time, you know, President Akufo-Addo was not a former president. The highest position I occupy in the history of our party was what position? Was a minister of state. 2 ministerial roles. Okay. Foreign affairs and attorney general. Yes, so his popularity alone was able to win us victory with 1.1 million votes difference. 1 million votes difference, no crown point the share President Mahama. It took him 8 years. And 1.7 million, Dr. Baumia de Lucy, how many years will it take? By just simple logic and proportion. It's going to take us about 14 to 15 and a half years. 1 and 2. Agya Kwabena, who 40 now 50, 56. and as we 15 so e be do now 66 to say be 67 years long pension party no so far so be no ayede wonya nti be bia party ni jana be bia party ni jina brand pe party na ho den ni jina say dey you need somebody a grassroots for na feel for no be jina tum the man for no be jina tum what track mu what to ma e dey be no omobo obi ase ye fa Kennedy Agyapong mra ye be dey ye beto these are one more second chance. Let me state on record, second chance should not be a reward for showing up. No, it should not be a reward for showing up. Yes, sir. Ubi aba or see a man a second chance, or see a man a second chance. We need leader and for agility. Leader or no who say I uncofa and our warrior sonko eda agriculture mu any socio-economic transformation. Leader the Agya Kwabena Kennedy Bar. Senka yeah galamsey. Do you know what is going to be Kennedy's galamsey? Kennedy's galamsey is going to be tourism. Tourism moment in Nipa be poor because if you go to other developed countries, that is the area they've exploited. Tourism is going to be Kennedy Agyapong's galamsey. When I'm for about Raniako to explore the tourism center, ama the sector, the tourism sector, ama afi sika aba mama yedi so ayede aba omayenu.
Member the mahodo obetumi ayeno. Ye beba ho. What would you say you made a mistake by bringing Dr. Bawumia in 2024? Say ebia o share analogy ama ye say Dr. Duboahen ekosoro na etoatoaso kufo baaye na ekona nado baaye ekosoro kopi so and Dr. Bawumia etiba from say shim. And would you say the party made a mistake so Dr. Bawumia baaye in 2024?
We had high hopes in him. O share your candidacy cry bia obia ni ho ano amakate ne ho say Dr. Bawumia. Ntie nim say ka obia amakate ne sa ade ko ye ton na ye be de ye beto. But say na marketability is not the same as acceptability. You can indeed market a product, yes, so the product will be rejected by the people. Because 16 years within the space here, the highest marketed person can say near the ever. And the normal issue of who say your party, your target say your account party. The Kemfa be a Indian some more the northern part of Somra. The NDC can be called be a northern voice, so can be a Dr. Bawumia back can also be the Ebaba. I remember example. Menoka say there are 5 regions in Ghana, MPP in the parliamentary rep back say because you nipa no mama to mo presidential candidate no about our parliamentary candidate no. Ti asem you 5 regions you need a single parliamentary rep. You 9 regions or Ghana ha 9 regions and out of 9 regions no parliamentary representation all should be 98, MPP will move 5, NDC will move 93. Yet by a 2 ye. Despite say near what you or Dr. Bawumia say marketing a year no. There were 16 regions in Ghana, a move 15 regions Agya Kwabena can say MPP will decline in votes with the exception of Northeast. What I say? Aba ye 2 ye. O share ye can say oh Dr. Bawumia candidate ade near what you will so on your back or the Zongo votes but me no can say. Oh, Zongo votes there are over how many police stations, Zongo police stations we have? What they a Hakra Bono, any Chrome Zongo's Mune or so if there are 2 Zongo police stations, the whole country only won in Winneba Zongo. So into the date of the Tayana Oma project, the northern regions from 904,000 from President Kufuor in 2020, Dr. Bawumia de ba 750,000 what so. We had the southern 11 regions now from over 5 million. 5.8 million, about to 3.8 million, over 2 million, and the national is 6.7 to 4.5. So, in the Usha, even the northern part now, you say an experienced candidate, a marketed candidate, what is about 16%. The northern part, the southern part now, you name so that about me, the Ghana will be and San Cotton, what is 33%. And the national reduction or national decline also as well about to 31%. And yes, we believe in him. Yes, we had hopes in him. So, Obi Ayamaketewa as a former vice presidential candidate, and a former vice president within a space of 8 years, and the Kabaka votes in the question. The data does not speak to that. And also, there or Unkoma or Pepper your data, also a data man. No customer support with data on your own day. But this is what the data is saying.
Why do you look say your non kwana and namno soma party no edin kugu masha party no so performance party no near mo abemu and a be a party abani 2 year the ma do be abani year individuals within the party and the government the mom ye any mabako minumi and say see no I play role I a contributive factor and a massa could go kokoba
and abai na where abai na president and vice president
and then when you come
no but when the center cannot hold what happens only abai who has the final authority the president and the vice president but you see to the contrary all the good things that happen in the government isn't it attributed to him. We cannot also say then we are also taking responsibility for it. In 2008, when President Akufo-Addo contested, no only vice president that. Okay, Brad 2008, we are seeing now by a very big global economic recession. Okay, America, all companies has declared bankruptcy. Companies were closing down. President Akufo-Addo even won his first round. What I say? Factors are abbreviated to but the factors are always the same because our problems as a country has always been systemic. And quite far so too Jomahama and one far so too Ubia President Kofu there were always issues and there were perform. But we are talking about the extent of the performance and the extent of the loss, which is unprecedented. It will be catch them so how do you separate Dr. Bawumia from Abayano? How do you separate him? As a vice president, as a head of the economic management team, how do you separate him from Abayano? He's part of Abayano. Because yes, I agree. The last patterns were tough. The last 2022 to 2024 economic recession, COVID impact, I don't know. Yes, but even ultimately, even in spite of that, you have to. That's why we are not saying and can we say Chenchana we need your Mahama by a million or 2 million votes. No, that's not what we are saying. But we are saying that the extent of loss, and this is not a year presidential quo. Nationwide, I've given you the statistics.
Now, parliamentary, no, the Robin no play parliamentarians, no solution. For instance, I say Central, Kennedy Agyapong, on continue retaining seat in our party, no, and also,
Mamma Casamancho, parliamentary, no, rule a presidential a plain say, president, no, the popular is not the drive the whole party. And say me, president, no, in the 2 years, so about Traba, but 2 more president, you are, who said the next. Over the next way, Okotomana, no Saba back, no budget the next way, was near parliamentary. This all bad one, I'm presidential, and now they're Kotoma parliamentary.
Scat and blast war.
But they didn't even come. 2.1 million people didn't come. That's what we count as it. 2.1 million people didn't even come. They didn't even show up compared to the previous election that we had. They just didn't even show up. Into one month, no beto. Until
it is a one foot on my beto. And they say, Dr. Bawumia na or more.
There was a second question I may answer.
Okay.
Okay. Then the other part is even the Kennedy Agyapong one. Say Ascent Central Kennedy Agyapong loss. But more, just a very brief history. Since 92, they started practicing Republican state and democracy. 92, NDC the winning Ascent seat. It was an NDC seat. 96 and Kennedy Agyapong the airby. If free 96 but the next 24 years ABC the last time Kennedy if he parliamentary he has always maintained the seat. He left there and then NDC won back again. It should tell you something and should support the argument that I'm making that there comes a time where the popularity of a candidate or an individual even outweighs that of the party. And that people's allegiance and voters' allegiance come at that particular individual. No party na consequential benefit on it to the extent that individual in hope say party na who they the air form. And no say Chira say Akufo-Addo's popularity was able to take the parties through. 2020 na more say oh your good banks galamsey for about 20 years still Akufo-Addo moved from 5.8 in 2016 to 6.7 million popularity of the candidate. So the candidates count. In Tuba Central Ascent people were not voting for MPP. Ascent Central, they were not voting for MPP. They were rather voting for Kennedy Agyapong. So if you don't give us Kennedy Agyapong, we are not going to vote. It's the same thing that has to do with the presidential. In the presidential, in MPP, they also look at the candidate, the popularity of the candidate, the trust of the candidate, the track record of the candidate, the credibility of the candidate. And that's how I'm going to. So when people make a very, lay argument, say, oh, Kennedy Agyapong, and they lose Kennedy Agyapong into the ballot person. No, again, the people were voting for Kennedy Agyapong, and so when he left, they didn't care again. It is the more reason why you need his popularity at the national level to win as the general elections.
So what can yenim saba ko say mu no ama mpanyimfo abedi mampani nyina we papa je to nchen a Dr. Dubuahen okoba ko komprenu kofo komprenu kufadu komprenu prince ansa na odi mampeni dada mas ono so saa mampeni mahama anso koe na Dr. Bawumia wako once pe enti no wako once saa na ono na di din nanim da ballot paper no so no enye fair se baka se obuso ye kono prince ono wako bako pe se bako pa na akwa na nye yiti san wachi say we are not being fair to him and
Agya Kwabena second chance once my year
yes
ma yen create impression be say yeah the down Kwasi because they just showed up no MPP abakosem pa no second chance no they be Kwasi say many nipa ko ba ko ni bi on impress so is contingent on nipa performance what has it
yeah
and before and the can football be say am for na day e be channel to aso so am for na channel to aso yes we di bidi akwa se we di fata akwa no nyankwankwa nuase na we yes we di bidi akwa na akwata nkwankwa nuase na wo chemfa ma e de na edi bidi akwa no ye de ho abodin e ma da bi e be ye de every also in the history of MPP Professor Dubuahen cover the party by when the president Rollins contesting the first time on 30.2% chasemi you at that time no near transition from the military era Rollins had full and total control over the party of the country yes Professor Dubuahen in 1.2 million. With him, Professor Dubuahen votes difference on the President Rollins here was 1.1 million. Then we came to Kufuor. Kufuor then came in 96 and we beat Professor Dubuahen. Party for Professor Dubuahen, what Kufuor party by despite all the hostile environment and the election no kwa you who ballot papers no kwa the soldier for na ye you who the sebi ukoye de ukonko den then so performance no na enye yi and bonus 1.1 million po with 30% almost seal and President Kufuor by President Kufuor move President Dubuahen the first time performance to 39%, 9% increment. How do you say will be far from 30 to 39 uko yinefrim no they buy yeah Akufo the first time Akufo the first time no kwa no ono so nya 45%. How do you say will be our far 39 and the 45 from 30 to 39 to 45%? How do you say we yinefrim? So then President of say Vice President Bawumia comes in his first time. He then draws Akufo-Addo's 45 to 41. And now number who say Minya Dennis Miracles about or to TV so no message but say hey Dr. Bawumia already 41 that into the here 9%. And I was surprised. I just say who onipa sebia na dream mode na kasa asem no chero because if you are to go by the logic, say, or 41% the hodada, then by that logic, you know, NDC for also 56 at the hodada. We shouldn't go for the election in the first place. Abano, Ubia votes on the encounter to one yakotwaso. The man had 41, a difference of 1.7 million in the nominal votes. 2.1 million people from our previous votes did not vote, accumulating into about 3.8 million votes. How do you then say, you know, 41% at the hodada? We don't have 41% there. And that people should get to know, say, we are all going to start from zero. Nipa, or no, we have first performance, Dubuahen 30.2, first performance of Kufuor 39, Watum, then first performance of Akufo-Addo 45. No. Those two, now, their track record shows that they perform. But in your case, up, down. Now, down, you put your do you into you are not the only in the category of Professor Dubuahen. That is why we need a new face.
Say now, can one more April. You bet you say Dr. Bawumia and Kennedy Agyapong and at the last the Amuye answer near Kotraba 2024 no one more contest here. Some say Dr. Kennedy Agyapong about 37%. And she started 7%. Also, because I know so the whole chairman and I say no so assessor. And I just say more control and boom to do and between yan.
There be another train. Just like 61% and now train Dr. Bawumia. 61%, no. Almost 137 MPs were all supporting him, like I indicated. Almost all MMDCs were supporting him. Government appointees, almost everybody was supporting him. You dare not. Untimi. And then I Kennedy said, I feel you will be in Sroche, will be nearby, will be in will be who. And we are not going to show weakness in the next election. We are going to start from a plain level. And there's a more reason why you would say the party for no and who they see cost of some penses can we win. No, we have that confidence and we say that in humility. And to be idea now is on ground zero. We are all going to start is an equal playing field, and our confidence is that any party for no kasa only 2 million. 2 million no more there. Tiebe ko so asere omo e wo buo mu ne ahobrase mu. And we are very confident some of them are.